Hey, welcome to Sash Soundings. How are you doing this evening? If you join me, please put a comment and say hi. I'd like to see who's out there. So, how are you guys doing this evening? I'm going to start doing this on a Monday evening at 6:30. This is my Sash Soundings. This is my life coaching page, and thank you for joining me. So, if you're here, please just drop a hello. So I want to talk about something this evening. Last week, I kind of talked about a couple things, and tonight I'm going to talk about slaying the giants. So I'm kind of do a little series called Slaying the Giants. And the next topic to slay is self-negative talk. How many of us have that as an issue? Self-negative talk. I'm sure that we've all experienced that at one time or another in our lives, correct? I mean, who hasn't went through that at least at some season in our life? So if you've joined me, please say hi. And thank you and welcome to Sash Soundings. So we're talking about negative self-talk. That that sabotages so many of our goals. We really need to tackle that self-negative talk. Sometimes it's not even a criticism from other people. It's really a dialogue that we have with ourselves. Have you ever been standing there in the mirror and you're brushing your teeth and you're looking at yourself and you're like, I could have, all of those things. The self-negative. It seems like it's funny. In the morning, I think sometimes we can really sabotage our whole day by self-negative talk. So if you join me, say hi and tell me if there is a time that you or season that you've been through with the self-negative talk. And where does it come from? How is it that we get to that place of self-negative talk? What causes that? So there's a couple core beliefs that we have that can cause that to happen, right? Our early experience of criticism, or maybe we had some older siblings that we were comparing ourselves to, oh, well, so-and-so, wow, they did better in school, or they had the nicer car, or, all of those different things. Those core beliefs can really sabotage us going forward. And no matter what age we are, how many times have we done that to ourselves? Tell me if you have. I'd like to hear an experience if you've done the self-negative talk before. So how do we get there? How did the early experience usually, I actually watched this yesterday about dodgeball. Do you guys remember dodgeball or Red Rover or anything? I'm aging myself. I don't know. Maybe you're too young to know what dodgeball or Red Rover is, but those are the places that it begins in a social setting, and it not being good enough and not being picked and all of those things. And it's funny, a friend of mine, he was on here and he was talking about that today. And it's funny, I had already planned on talking about this myself, not being picked for things. So we're comparing ourselves. When I was younger, I was not very active. I sat in front of the TV and I wasn't very active. So when it came time to sports in school, I was not the first person picked. I was always almost the last person picked. And that did a lot to my self-esteem. And that's where it began for me as far as self-negative talk, because that's when I started to compare myself to others and think that I just wasn't good enough. So what happens is that we assume that your worth depends on what others think of you. How many of us have done that? I'm good enough if I'm going to accomplish this, if I have the support of these people. What about looking in the mirror at ourselves and kind of gaining that strength there? But that self-negative talk is where it just, it'll sabotage you. So what can we do? What can we do to get over those things? What things do you have in your toolbox? And I always call them a toolbox. What resources do you have in your toolbox to get past those blocks so you don't get stuck? Because we can get stuck in whatever we're doing. Some people have a fear of failure, but some people have a fear of success too. And again, it goes back to that core belief of comparison and criticism. So if we do succeed, then what? What if we don't succeed? So, I mean, we can sabotage ourselves all day long just in here. So what is it that you can do to get past that? Tell me. Anybody have a clue? If you join me, which it says there's 3 people here, and I would love for you to say hi to me. But what can we do? What can we do? So what we can do is we can start building ourselves up with positive belief systems. So if the root of it is the core belief system is criticism and comparison, where can we go with that? How can you get yourself out of that self-negative talk? Anybody have a clue? So there's a lot of people out there that talk about affirmations. So the word affirmations. So positive affirmations to ourselves. I have more than a couple friends that have little Post-it notes they put on their mirrors in the morning. Because again, it seems like that self-negative talk kind of gets to us as we're getting ready for the day, brushing our teeth, whatever you do to prepare for the day. Hi, Larry. Thanks for joining me. So what can we do? Well, we can start by some positive affirmations. Well, what if you don't even know where to start? What are you going to say to yourself? Positive. I mean, how about just, you got this. You can do this. That's a big positive affirmation. I tell everyone, you got this. When you say that, you got this, what does that mean? Larry, any idea? Since you're joining me. So if somebody says, you got this, what does that mean? That means that you have enough confidence to go forward. So sometimes we just get blocked in that one place of not going forward with something. Right. I am enough. Exactly, Larry. So you got this. I'm enough. I got this. I can do this. I mean, I actually do have a thing in my bathroom that says you got this, because I use that so often with other people, trying to give other people positive affirmations. But coming up with your own positive affirmations, when you start getting in that self-negative talk loop, that just is like a snowball effect. It brings your whole day down. Yes, I can achieve anything. I'm a winner. That's right. Those are good positive affirmations. I am and can achieve anything I put my mind to. So Larry, here's the thing. What if you don't believe that? That core belief system is huge. If you don't believe that, how are you going to say those positive affirmations to yourself? How do you get past that? Well, write it down, put it in place, and just say it to yourself. That positive affirmation, even if you don't believe it, just keep saying those positive things to yourself. Once you see yourself getting in that rut, okay? So there's a lot of therapies out there, cognitive therapies. I have this worksheet, and it's a cognitive therapy thought record. And it's really, really cool, because what happens is you'll start to feel those unpleasant feelings. And then you write down your initial thought. So you start with that. Then you say, what thought first crossed your mind? It could have been subconsciously. You've had it before. Now, the next step is consider the consequences. Why do you want to change this thinking? What will be the consequences if it doesn't change? And look at the psychological, physical, professional, and relationship consequences. So if you had an initial thought, the next is consider the consequences to you, to others. What will happen if you don't change that thought? Okay, then challenge that thought. That's next. Number 4 is challenging it. How successful was thinking this before for you in the past? Was it successful, you thinking this about yourself? Like, I can't do this. I'm not good enough. How successful was that? Where did it get you? Did it make you go forward? Or what happened? So, what strengths do you have that you may have overlooked? Maybe there is a challenge in your way. How can you overcome that challenge? How can you get a support system, other people to help you to get past that challenge? So, how do we change into that alternative thinking? How do we change it? Hey there. Hey, Jason. Yeah, surround yourself with positive people. That does help. But sometimes people don't know what you're going through. I mean, they really, really don't. You can achieve anything you put your mind to. Surround with positive people. Nice to see ya. We're talking about negative self-talk and how that can get you in a rut. If you don't believe that you can do something, how are you going to get past that? How do we get past that? And I'm just giving you some changing that core belief system of negativity to positivity. Now, it sounds like, oh, just do that. It's not easy. It isn't. But it does take one thought at a time. You have to do a new mindset. You have to put that mindset in motion. So if that means just to even wake up in the morning and do a positive affirmation, write something down that says, I'm enough, like Larry says. You've got to like and hear. How do you get there? Well, you can't exactly like and hear if your core belief system is still with criticism and comparison. So start there. You need to start with your root foundation of who you are. And I always come back to this because that is always where we come back to, right? And anything relationally with ourselves, with other people, right, Jason? Jason's a relationship coach. You have to have confidence in you. You have to have a positive thought about yourself before you can even get in a relationship with someone else. Negative breeds negative. That's not going to work out. So thinking positive things, how do we do that? There's a lot of people out there that don't know how to change that. It's one thought at a time. Again, do not go and try to change everything, but one thought at a time. Look in the mirror and say to yourself, I'm good enough. I'm good enough. I was chosen to be here. I was chosen to be born on this planet. I'm good enough. I was chosen for a purpose. I'm good enough. I have purpose. And that's always a root thing, right? So, yep. Let me see what Jason has to say. You can't expect to get it from others when you don't do it for you first. It's true. You cannot be another extension of a person or in a relationship if you feel empty in here. So how do we fill up that place? How do we get filled up with that place? Self-love. Self-love. That's how. But if we can't even start there, if we still are in that criticism and that comparison place of core beliefs, we can't fill that up just yet, can we? But use this one thought at a time. I always say on here, get professional counseling. Professional counseling helps you get a life coach, professional counselor, get good support system around you. Pull out your resources. What are your resources? There are so many self-help books out there that says, you're a badass, all those things. So get one of those books that tells you you're a badass, because you are. You know why? Because you're here. Because your creator thought that they needed one of you on this planet. You're good enough. You got this. Again, let's go back to you got this. Hey, Lance. So where do you start? Your core belief system. Then your mindset. Change that mindset. Positive affirmations. I have been in so many bathrooms that have those sticky notes stuck to the mirror. If that's what it takes to get you to change your mind about yourself, that's what you need to do. If you need others to help, to support you, to change your mind, do that. Reach out. Say, I'm not feeling good about myself. My confidence is a little low here. Be real. Be authentic. Get real with yourself. That's the first place, is to get real. I think that we get ourselves so busy that we just don't take care. We don't take care of in here. We don't take care of in here. So mind, body, spirit. Again, it's all connected. You're not going to feel good about yourself if you just ate a Big Mac and French fries and a Coke. I mean, you might feel good for like 5 minutes, but then what comes after that? And I go back to, because I used to be a health coach, I go back to the diet thing, because that's kind of where I come from in the motivation department. Is, do you feel good? You do at first. I mean, I'll be honest. I was bad. I had White Castles this day. Yeah, I had White Castles, if you guys know what White Castles is. But I had some this last weekend. So yeah, don't be afraid to challenge and check in on your belief system. It does change as much as life changes. So make sure it matches where you're going. Very good. Thank you, Jason. I appreciate that input. Your belief system, that core belief system. And if you have to go travel back in time, I used to be one of those naysayers, because when they'd go, oh, it happened to me in your childhood. It did happen to you in your childhood. Wake up. It did. When you had that core belief system, when you started to form the way that you thought about yourself and the way others saw you, it started then. So if you have to start there, start there. Do it. Stop saying, no, do the work. And I would say, you've got to do the work. The work is needed for you to go to your next level. You can't level up and go to your next season if you still got yesterday's baggage. You got to stop dragging that crap. That's me being real. Stop dragging it. If your baggage is from when you were a child, take care of it. Take care of it. Because as we go from season to season and we're dragging that stuff along, we really are not helping our relationships with others and with ourselves. We are just dragging that stuff, and it erodes. It just kind of, and that's where the self-negative talk gets worse. I mean, as we age, that's not going to carry with you very well. Have you ever seen like some old people that are kind of angry? I don't know. I have. They're at the grocery store and they're just angry about everything, and they've got the scowl on their face. Why do you think that is? It's not probably because they're having a bad day, but they just thought they had a bad life. So you have the power to change that before you get there. Bitterness just brings you down. That bitterness can actually hurt your physical health. Bitterness, they say, and all of those things, holding a grudge, unforgiveness, all of those things actually get stored into your body, your physical body. So as you carry that around, the worse that your condition is going to be. You're not going to be motivated to go for a walk. You're not going to be motivated to get out of your house. You're not going to be motivated to do those things if you carry that stuff with you. So I don't know what Jason, leave your baggage at the carousel. If you're not going to sort out, way too heavy. That's right. Leave it at the airport. Leave it at the airport if you have to. No, it's true. I look at pictures of myself, and I'm just going to relate this to myself since I'm the one talking. Way back, well, not way back, maybe 5 years ago, if I took a picture of myself then and to now, I actually look older about 5 years ago. I look way older, and it was because I wasn't dealing with my stuff. I was doing some negative self-talk, but I was also doing no self-talk. Sometimes we can actually numb ourselves out. And I had plenty of different things to numb myself out, whether that be food, alcohol, all of those things. That is why we use those things. That is why we are constantly trying to draw towards those things, because we're not dealing with our stuff. So deal with your stuff. To get yourself out of that negative self-talk, you got to deal with where it first came from, where it began. And if that core belief system was not feeling good enough, comparing, criticizing, even having others do that to us. And I know that does carry on. Our parents, our siblings can have an effect on that. Get real with that too. But you also got to do forgiveness. Forgiveness is huge. Forgiveness lets the other person off the hook and yourself off the hook. So if you're carrying around that stuff, you got to release it. You got to get rid of it. Last week, I talked about unmet expectations, but again, this ties in. Self-negative talk always is because we don't feel worthy because of blank. And it's just not true. You are worthy. You were put here on this planet for a purpose. You have a purpose. Find out what it is. You need to find out what that purpose and mission is. Maybe that's where you're missing. What do you think? You want to try? Hi, Jeff. Thanks for joining. So, self-negative talk has to just get out of there. I finally broke. You did. All right. So, self-negative talk is a sabotager of our life. It's a self-sabotage of many things in your life if you let that negative self-talk take over. So I wanted to come on here. I'm not going to stay on a long time. I keep mine short, half an hour, but I just want to talk about that. And this is the beginning of a series that I'm going to do called Slaying the Giants. This is the first giant. And let's look at the first giant being your core belief system of criticism and comparison and self-negative talk. So think about that this week as you go forward. If you feel like you are stuck there, reach out to someone. Talk to them. Communication is key into getting healing and to getting well. And self-negative talk is a beginning. Do one affirmation for yourself a day. I'm enough, like Larry said. Love yourself. I'm a winner. There we go. Positive thinking only zone. That's right. Because how are you going to achieve your goals? Like, don't you want to kick butt and achieve some goals? You can do it. You got to tell yourself you can do it. The only one that can tell you that you can do it is you. There's nobody out there. There are cheerleaders. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. People can be cheerleaders, right? Yeah, you got this. Yeah, it's good. But if you don't believe it, how can you go forward if you don't believe it? So, one positive affirmation a day, one. Could be the same one, doesn't matter. So, I'm going to task you with an assignment, like a school teacher. Yep, kicking butt, one goal at a time. Larry knows, he's on all these Zoomy calls. He knows the key to success is to get yourself out of a rut and to stop talking to yourself badly. Think about it. Would you say the things that you say to yourself to someone else? Would you? Think of a person that is your most adored person on the earth. Like you have one person that you just adore. Would you say the same thing to them that you say to yourself? Would you? Probably not. You're worth it. You're worth it. You can do it. That's right. You can do it. What does Jeff say? If you do not believe in you, it will pile on you for years. Clear it out of your head. That's right. It starts with your core belief system. Stop comparing yourself. Stop criticizing yourself. And forgive yourself. There's forgiveness is in the middle of that too. Self-negative talk also has some forgiveness wrapped in there, right? I mean, I can hear some things that my mom used to say to me. She would say, I didn't name you Grace. And I'd be like, what does that mean? Like for years, I was like, what does she mean by that? She meant I was clumsy, right? She meant I was clumsy. So for years, guess what I didn't do? I didn't dance. I didn't do dance. And I loved dancing, but I thought, oh, my mom said, until one day, I was 30. Okay. It wasn't just one day. That was a long period of time from the time she said that. And she didn't mean it the way that I took it. Right. So there it goes. At 30, I started Irish dancing. And I had to get out of hearing her go, I didn't name you Grace. I was like, no, you named me Sandy. Ha. And I'm an Irish dancer now. She was very proud of me for that, by the way, later on. She didn't even know that she had said those words to me. You have to be very careful with your words to your children. You have to be very careful to your words to yourself. You have to be very careful with your words to anyone. You have no idea how people take that. But really, what happens then is they take that on and that self-negative talk just rolls. Already they had a belief system that maybe was tainted with comparison and criticism. So please don't add to somebody else's stuff. People do things, that saying, hurt people. And that is true. That does happen. But there has to be a level of forgiveness to that. Yep. So let's see. What you got to say? Oh, thanks, Larry. I appreciate it. Tell him, coach. That's right. Well, that is what the whole key of this is. I want to help you to get to your best self. I want to help you to get past those places that you're stuck. I want to help you to see those places that you're stuck in. Sometimes we don't even see it. We're just busy living our lives when we really, really need to stop and take inventory. If you don't take inventory in here, that baggage is going to be heavy. So stop carrying around the baggage. Self-negative talk being the first one. Get to your core belief system. Try to figure out a time. Really think about it. When was the first time that you said something negative to yourself? And that will give you a key as to when it started. And that will give you a key on how to undo that. Because maybe there needs to be some forgiveness to start there. Maybe you need to just deal with some situations that were happening at the time. If that means you have to go back, I would definitely suggest going to a counselor to work you through that stuff. Or a life coach, either or. So anyway, thank you for joining me tonight. And I am tasking you, your assignment for the week, your assignment is to stop listening to that self-negative talk. As soon as you hear yourself go, oh, have you ever said that? I'm so stupid. Say, if you even start that, you stop. No, I'm not. I'm not stupid. Maybe I did a stupid thing, but I'm not stupid. Maybe I blank, but I'm not. Maybe this, but I'm not. So, all right. Your rest of your week, your assignment is a self-affirmation positive. Write it on a sticky note because you know that's just the fun thing to do. Get a really sparkly one or something. Tell yourself, I am worth it. I am worth it. I'm good enough. You know, I really love that scene in The Help when the maid was talking to that little girl. Think of yourself in that scene. Yep, think of yourself in that scene. That somebody say that to yourself. So I'm tasking you. I want to know next Monday night, tell me how you did with that. I want to hear what the self-positive affirmation was too. I really am interested. So thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. And so Slaying the Giants is this series. So next week, we're going to tackle another little thing. Last week, it was unmet expectations. This week, self-negative talk. Next week, you'll hear a good one. So, all right. Take care, you guys. I appreciate you joining me. So, peace out.